All right, let's get into this a little bit. So it's wild because I was making this point earlier today, but like, man, these scoopers got to go. You know what I mean? Like, appreciate it. You know, thanks for the scoops. Now get fucked, leave forever, delete your account. It's too much. We went from not knowing anything about Avengers Doomsday and the real plot and like what was really going on to the point that like we now know. And, like, sure, we can all act like we don't know for sure. Maybe the people that have been getting 70 to 80% of all the shit right for years and have single-handedly destroyed the fandom surrounding this sort of stuff. Maybe we can just act like they might not know what they're talking about. But the reality is, if you have simple pattern recognition, we fucking know that they just shot a scene with Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter and Loki at the Windsor estate in a house that was codenamed Luke Cage's house, and it's actually the fucking house from Avengers Endgame with Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers where they were out there. Guys, it's too much. We should have known this. It's too much. Why do we know this? Why do I know that for now they've wrapped shooting at Windsor Park? Why do I know that it was Tom Holland, Peggy Carter, and Steve Rogers having a dialogue sequence while they filmed at the Luke Cage secret? Like, it's too much. Then why the fuck are you telling us? Good point, but it's too late for me, so it's too late for you. Now we have to suffer together. This is a good question, though. So, what's the deal here? I mean, dude, it is kind of interesting. We've been following along with this, right? We've been following along, so let's just, like, put a pin in the whole thing with, like, the scoopers ruined the fandom, and we really wish they would disappear forever. We have to live in the world that we live in, and in this world, they still exist, and we do know what we know. So, over the past couple of days, right, it's been like, okay, so there's this scene going on at Windsor Park. 4 actors and their stunt doubles are filming there. And we were like, who are these actors going to be? It seems like, according to what all the scoopers and everybody's saying, it seems like it's going to be RDJ, although it seems like maybe RDJ didn't film his scenes yet, which is weird. Maybe it was just the stunt double. Maybe RDJ was directing from home on the couch again, eating bugs. I assume he eats bugs. And like directing it from the couch with like a Tesla robot in the suit or something like that. But the point is, there were stories about 4 different actors and their stunt doubles filming there. It seems like who they are is Loki, Peggy, Steve, and Doctor Doom. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting about this is like, if it's a dialogue sequence with Peggy, Steve, and Loki, what do you think that sequence entailed? Right? That's kind of an interesting question. What is that sequence? And I would venture to say probably a pretty important dialogue sequence. Okay? And then does that then become a fight because Doom's on his way? Is Doom on his way? Then Loki shows up to save Steve and Peggy, go do multiversal Avengers stuff, cause the collapse of the multiverse, but allow a way for them to persist past the destruction of everything so that they can survive into Secret Wars. Pretty interesting, dude. Now, I'll make one prediction. About this. I think that Peggy will leave with Loki and that they will pay off that scene in Loki season 1 where you kind of see Peggy Carter brought to the TVA. I'm telling you right now, I think that happened. And I believe that'll end up being Loki taking Peggy to the TVA where they can then hide from Doctor Doom. What episode was that? I think it was literally the first episode. But yeah, so that's what I kind of think is going on. But who knows for sure? Like, I'm just speculating on that. But regardless of that, you'd have to imagine Loki watching over the entire multiverse, being from beyond time, understanding what is going on, especially as all the things are collapsing. If he's just holding like 4 strands left and he can see exactly what's going on, he's going to see that Doom is going there to kill Steve to stop this stuff and maybe do something crazy. So there has to be some exposition. There has to be some kind of an explanation for what's happening. And I think probably a very meaningful exchange between all of those characters. So not sure what it is exactly, but damn, dude, like we thought it was probably Loki. You know what I mean? I had speculated earlier in the week that it was Loki. It seems like it will be Loki. This is kind of interesting. So, chat, what do you guys think? Do you have any comments, questions about this? What do you think's going on here? Do you agree that it's just too much? Like, it's too much that we know the 4 actors that just wrapped at Windsor Park? Like, come on, that's a little crazy, huh? Photo by Maiko says F1 was fire. Warhammer gaslighting is crazy, but I will get into it when I get money and a community to play with. Amen. Amen. Appreciate you, brother. Steve still has the time travel suit from Endgame, doesn't he? I believe so. I don't know why he wouldn't. So, yeah. Patty Poop, esteemed member of the community, says the Loki Peggy Cap threesome scene was a bold choice. Probably is too much. Yep, that's true. That's true. There is no way they planned it that far in advance. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing, especially in Phase 4. Yeah, categorically false. Klobacha. How do I say your name? Amy Klobuchar? I'm just going to call you Amy Klobuchar. Which, by the way, I'm dead ass. I don't even know who Amy Klobuchar is. It just popped into my head. I assume she's a politician. Okay, so what Amy Klobuchar is saying here is that there's no planning. They fucked it all up. There couldn't be planning. Brother, you don't understand plans. You don't understand plans. Okay, so listen to me, Miss Klobuchar. What happens is setup and payoff. Okay? And so you there's 2 parts. One's like the alley, the other's the oop. Okay, so you throw it up, and then you slam it. Have you ever seen a bad alley oop? And maybe you take a shot, and you miss the shot, but it ends up and it looks like an alley oop because motherfucker catches it and slams it into the thing. So they threw it up. I'm telling you, they had these plans. Like I cannot believe that Amy Klobuchar in the chat. And this is an attitude that a lot of other people, and frankly, it's a my time to shine hello attitude. Where like Shine is just trying to get everybody to turn on Marvel because she's actually like totally fucking miserable. And she just wants us all to be miserable too. And so this is like a Shine thing where like Shine is like, they didn't plan shit. And it's like, come on, man. I've been doing this for 9 fucking years. I know how this shit works. I'm not just going to like, oh, all the shit I know, I'm just going to ignore, and I'm going to take what you say and make that what I believe. Like, no, bro, like, I know how this shit works. When they put Thanos into the end of Avengers, did they know exactly how they were going to pay off Thanos? No, they didn't. They didn't know exactly how they were going to use the stones. They didn't know exactly that all the MacGuffins would build up, but by the time they got the Age of Ultron, they had figured that out. That's why Age of Ultron has a lot of fucking scenes in it that clearly set up all the other shit with the Infinity Stones. They eventually figure it out, find a satisfying way. Let me do another one for you. When they made Civil War, it's very unlikely that they thought Mysterio's in this scene. But then they retroactive is what retcon means. It's a retroactive continuity. The retcon was, oh, he was in that scene. And a lot of like great storytelling, a lot of great stuff in comics and great stuff in Star Wars comes from a retcon. Darth Vader was not Anakin Skywalker when George made the first movie. That's a retcon. That's something he retroactively put into the continuity. Because there was Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and there was this whole thing with like Luke and Leia and stuff, and then like George was like, I'm actually going in a different direction than that, so this becomes Elseworld officially. Like, bro, like that's how that works. So this idea, like, oh, dude, Phase 4 sucked. There's no way. Did you watch the video I dropped yesterday? Amy Klobuchar. Can I just ask you one question here? Miss Klobuchar, if I may. Did you watch the video I did yesterday? I literally made the perfect video yesterday it's the perfect copium for Doomsday, and it explains that they have been planning this forever. So you should really go watch that video. Legends of Sage says, would you rather Blue Marvel, Nova, or Beta Ray Bill show up in the next phase? Why not all? Why not all 3, man? Zach, thank you for the gift of membership. I like all those characters, man. I like all those characters. Pitch Perfect Field says, I think getting the F1 and Top Gun photographer is a great idea, but I think getting Sean Levy, Gosling Adams is a terrible idea. Total departure from the aspect that made Star Wars truly great. Nerd Avengers for life. Yeah, that's a fair take. It might just be that Star Wars has arrived at a different place, though. You know? Because, look, I feel the same way. It's weird to get a big movie star. That's not Star Wars. This is a departure from what we would usually expect. But the real star is this kind of unknown kid, relatively unknown kid. So it's like, we're still getting that a little bit. The The star power itself is a little vexing, right? It's a little confusing, but again, maybe it's just different times. You know, it's different times. And Aaron Pierre is like clearly on the rise, but relatively unknown. You know, I think Aaron Pierre is going to fucking kill it in this movie too. I'm excited. Pitch Perfect Field, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you. Thank you. The only faith I have in all of this is that the Russos are involved, and I just have confidence that they're going to knock it out of the park. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, we can hope, right? We can hope. We can absolutely hope. So, what do you guys think? Any other comments on this whole Peggy Carter scene? Like, what do you guys think? Like, what is Loki doing there? And if it's a big dialogue scene, I mean, it's kind of like the obvious answer here, right? Is that he has to explain why they have to leave. Like, he basically has to explain why they don't get happily ever after. You know? And also, like, what's Cap gonna say? He's gonna be like, Loki? From Avengers 1? Like that meme? Loki? From Avengers 1? You know? Like, and that's gonna be kind of wild. Is it too much to ask for some Peggy Carter cleavage? Make Marvel sexy again. I personally don't think it's too much to ask. You know, I personally don't think it's too much to ask. Yeah. Patty Poop, the esteemed member of the community, says, honestly, I just glad they're getting involving Loki in it a bit more than, oh, he runs the TVA now. Yeah, of course. Yeah, totally. The supposed clip of Peggy Carter being escorted to the TVA still has me scratching my head. Yeah, man. 100%, right? Oh, shit. Daniel Ha has a new hot sauce flavor. Dude, Daniel Ha has some good hot sauce, I tell you. Peggy is hot, too? Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Very talented. Yeah. Suppose... Oh, yeah. All right, any other last-minute comments, questions, concerns about this Peggy Carter stuff? I mean, we kind of knew it was Loki anyway, you know? I'm giving the Scoopers a hard time here because I'm an asshole. But we did... It is kind of obvious that it was going to be Loki. Loki putting a team together? Yeah, he might be. He might be. The guy who jumped on a grenade would probably sacrifice his happiness to save the world from an incursion. Fair point. Fair point. That's a fair point, yeah. Was that confirmed that it's Haley and Loki? No, it's never been confirmed. It's never been confirmed. That's like a speculation on my part. Loki the GOAT? He might be. He might be. How does Loki leave the tree, though? Duplicate? No, I think that it's just all over. I think it's just all over. And I think Loki's just like, hey, best we can do is get you guys out of here, go recruit some multiversal Avengers and stop Doctor Doom in Secret Wars. Oh, dude, Legends of Sage. I love that channel. A bit of everything. We've actually reacted to a couple of his videos. He does good work. Just need them to officially announce Kang recast so I can properly theorycraft. What's stopping you from theorycrafting now? I mean, we don't know for sure, but let your imagination run wild, man. You know, some of the best theories and the best, you know, fun speculative ideas, like, you don't need permission. In fact, Scoopers could tell you this is not happening. And you could still theorize that it's happening because they get shit wrong. Don't limit yourself. Loki confronts with Doom, saves Steve from Doom, forming multiversal Avengers. Yeah, I think it's going to be something like that, yeah. When do you think we'll get our first teaser trailer? Oh, next summer. Next summer. We're probably a year away from the first Doomsday trailer. Who do you think will build up the ship that saves the survivors from the incursions? I think it'll be Reed Richards, but I also think it's going to be... I think it's going to be revealed that Reed built the TVA. A Reed. Some version of Reed built the TVA. That's what I think. The tech looks so similar, dude. Like that retro 60s tech. It's very similar. Okay, that's all we got about the Peggy Steve Loki scene. It is kind of cool that we know that it's Loki. It does kind of bring in some interesting questions. Probably Doom, Loki, Cap, and Peggy in the scene. Maybe it becomes an action sequence. Maybe some of them escape or whatever. We're gonna have to wait and see.